Alright guys, so I've just had my first client of the day, so that's my early morning done, and I've got another one starting in about 10 minutes, and then I have like a 15-minute break to get to the next one, and then I can relax for a couple of hours, because tonight we got the Gymshark live stream again, so it's just a tough day. It's just lots of work to be done, lots of focus, and I've got to try and squeeze in stuff for myself whenever I can, really. Right guys, so today I'm going to be doing a little bit of music for some YouTube videos for this channel, for More Than Lifting and for Stoke Pool. And music was something that I studied at uni and college, and I am incredibly passionate about, but it's something that I don't do professionally and something I really struggle to make time for now. So any excuse to kind of force myself to do something like that that's very creative, I really kind of jump at that chance. So today I'm super busy with clients. I've had like a crazy morning, and now I don't have to do anything really until 5 when the Gymshark live stream happens. So I'm editing some videos, as you can see by here, but for that I want to just make some nice little tunes. So let's have a look at the process I go through to make music for YouTube. Right guys, so with music, I used to love spending ages just like doing sound design and kind of really working hard to make something that is kind of interesting, fills the spectrum, and has like lots of stuff going on to create a good flow and good pattern and rhythm to follow. And I used to spend hours and hours just writing little bits or elements of a track that would then turn into a month-long process for producing a piece of music, like a song or whatever. But I do not have time to do that with YouTube. So instead, what I'm doing is I'm just doing the arranging part and the production part of writing music. What that means is I switch on my Mac, I dive into Logic, and I use sample packs and stuff where people have already written like loops and little chord progressions and sounds and stuff to compose tracks based on that. And when I do this, I'm not so worried about any individual element. I'm more interested in making something that's kind of progresses a little bit, has a bit of interest and loops, and just kind of fills the space, because YouTube, like background music for YouTube videos, doesn't need to be a chart topper. Like, it doesn't need to be anything like that. It just needs to be something that creates a bit of mood, creates a bit of movement for the video as well, and kind of fills the gaps. So I still work a lot on music that I like, and I try and create bits of music that will be interesting and kind of go with the video, but I'm not too worried about any particular element of that. All right, I'll explain what I mean in a sec. Right guys, so I like to use Loopmasters to get my beats because I have an account with them. There are other websites as well that do sample packs from different studios and different artists and stuff like that. I like Loopmasters. So we're in the Loopmasters now, and what I'm going to do is, I've got a different one open here. So what I'm going to do basically is I've already got some packs, but I'll just show you that you can basically go through, search genres, you can search formats, labels, different things like bundles, loops, sales, stuff they usually have, which is quite interesting. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my account. Where is my account? Ding, 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 boom, boom. Right there, the simplest button. It's right in front of you. So here I've got my beats, got my account, and here are sample packs that I've recently purchased. So the good thing about these is all of these packs are available. You can download them like 5 times. So this is just a history of different packs that I've bought. This one and this one are recent ones, so I'm just going to set all of these things to download. So what I'm doing is I'm basically download all of these packs, and then I've got like a bunch of different stuff, different genres, different samples, different kind of loops and music and stuff that I can then use to compose something original. And that's the idea. Right guys, so I've basically got everything downloaded and unzipped, and then I'm just going to open up like an empty project in Logic on the Mac, and that's going to pop open. And I generally just do, because I'm basically working with WAV files, I'll usually just click on audio, I'll stick on like 10 tracks, and I'll make sure they're stereo, and then I'll always bus them out. So instead of just going straight to the output, I'll bus them into ascending buses instead of just coming out of one. And that's because then I can have like and I can mix down each element of the track individually, and then I can have like a higher level mix down where I have like all similar pads, all like percussion going in together, even if they're on different tracks. And it just means I can mix individual elements or instruments or like the pads or all the bass lines or however I arrange the track. I can always have them mixed down as groups of instruments or like sections of a piece of music, rather than just having everything piling into one and having to mix down each of the individual loops together. It just creates it's an easier way to edit, and it's generally that allows you to have like global effects as well that you can have on certain elements, or you can have global bus effects as well, like a general compression and reverb and distortion that might go over everything, that kind of thing. It sounds very technical, and it kind of is, but don't worry about it. That's just my process. So I just click create, and then if I pull up the mixer here, you'll see that I've got 10 audio tracks that I've just pulled in, and I've got 10 buses or auxiliaries, which they're called here. And then the auxiliaries go out to the master, and each track goes to its corresponding bus, which you can see here. Bus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll leave it like this for now. But what I'll do is when I start bringing elements in, is I'll start like grouping everything into its particular bus, so that it's always very organized, and it makes it very easy to edit stuff later in the process. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that for now. And what I'll do, because I keep all the packs organized, I'll just go in media here and browser, and for this example we'll just pick whatever kind of comes up. I'll go here, stick it on the desktop because that's where I just keep all the packs. Then I'll go in, boom, there we go, sample packs. So here's all the sample packs that I have, including the things that I've got. Then I'm just going to go on any old thing. Let's go here, mint. Mint sounds fun, doesn't it? And so I've got a tempo here that's set in Logic, but depending on what these like things have, I'll just go on full, and it'll just give us some samples. I'll just play that. So these are all at 120, then I've got 135 here, got 140 and 150. And what I'll do is I generally won't start with the drums. Instead, I'll go to music, because it's very important if you're going to be making a track. Well, the music's the important bit. Yeah, the drums it can be any drums. It's very easy to edit the drums, pitch them, send certain elements or other percussion in. It's not generally the thing that's important. What matters is that you've got the nice music. So I'm just going into here. I'm going to go to keys because that's there. Let's see what these are. And what I'm going to do is just go through here and grab something. And that, you can see, gives me a specific key. So not that, not that. Okay, we'll go with this. So I'm just going to pick this, drag it into here, and I like to have the drums at the top, so I'll just leave that for now. And what I'm going to do is just allow, say, the first 5 tracks to be some kind of percussion, and then I'll just stick this in by here, and this gives us the key. So I'm actually going to put this at the right tempo. So now it needs to be 140. So now this actually matches with the music. I'm going to stick it on there just so it's a complete loop. And then the key for that is A minor. So now I'm going to go into the other elements of that pack and see what I've got in A minor, something that might fit at the same tempo. So here we go. Why'd they have a double in there? But anyway, we'll go, that's it, that's our option, so we'll stick that in. And then what else have we got? We've got some miscellaneous 140Es, so that won't work. We've got some, some pads, 140, A minor, that's the right one. So I'm just going to slide this, I'm going to put the pads on 9 because there might be something more interesting which is more likely to change. Let some synthy bits, no A minor in that tempo. And I could go through different tempos, and I could go through other packs as well, like other sample packs that I have to try and find stuff, but just for the sake of this one, I'm going through this. It's a shame we can't put some vocals in, isn't it, really? But yeah, that's the basic process. Then I'm going to go into my drums, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go stems, we've got 140. Okay, so these are the individual tracks of that thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to full, find a nice 140. I like that little percussion-y bit. So now I've got each of the individual loops of this, and this is just a well-organized pack. It's good that they actually do that kind of stuff because there are plenty of sample packs that are just a disaster. So I'm just going to pull these in, kick score at the top, and then snares, and then we layer in the percussion afterwards. So I'm going to go these, just the general percussion loop first, and now I'm going to bring hats in, and you see how this just fills up the space, and then we've got effects. I'm going to double these in together, this and the crash, because effects are one of those weird things that you might want to layer in differently, but you've basically got a track there. I mean, it's an 8-bar loop, so that's the thing about it, is it's not a full thing, it's not like a full track, but what you can do is you can use this, just an 8-bar loop, you can build that into like a 2-minute track quite easily by just spreading it out, bringing in bits of variation, like introducing new melodies and other elements. Like I can go into other packs, I can look for 140, and I can go for A minor. So I've got 2 options really that I can use to find other sounds, and I'm actually going to just do that now. So we're going to go here, we're going to go search A minor, and then we're going to search through all of my sample packs. I've got quite a few different sounds and stuff, and it'll just pull up all my A minor things. I can go here, that's A minor, this is A minor, and I can either look for a certain tempo like 140, that's C minor, not A minor. We can go for other ones, and I can find elements or sounds that I like that I might want to put in, like not that either, but like I might like that, I might want to put that in, I might want to put this in. That's more drum and bass stuff, that is. I think that's what I'm on now. But I can get stuff from any of a pack, any sample pack that I have with an A minor in. It's just going to come up in this search like this, like random. Like that. Okay, that's at 125 BPM, but I could easily use this as part of the track because it's the right key. Imagine that'd spin people out. They'd be like, what is this? But as you can see, the more sounds that you have, the more options you have available to you. And not everything's gonna actually be a winner. But all of these are in the same key. And because this is quite heavy, like attack, like pluck kind of sounds, I could easily shift the tempo of this, like speed it up a little bit, and it would fit nicely into this track. Yeah, and I could just put that in as like a little break or as a new element that I introduce, and then I've created something completely original by just bringing in other bits. I can use different effects on each of these elements of the track to kind of add a bit more variation or just a slight tweaks to the sounds and what's running, but I don't have to spend ages writing melodies, I don't have to spend ages working at things like that. I can just take bits like this and compose something by arranging stuff and adding a little bit of production value of like some effects and some different things coming in and the different progressions of the music throughout the course of like 2 minutes. And then that is perfect for any YouTube video or anything like that. It's original, so I'm not worried about copyright strikes or anything like that, and I get to kind of feed my little itch for writing music and just like creating music without having to spend a month trying to get my head around a track and actually put all that work in. Like, I don't have time for that, and I don't really have the energy for it either. I don't really have the interest in doing that at the minute. Maybe I will in the future, and I always have that option available to me. Like, I've got my keyboard, got my mic, got the guitar, I've got interface, I've got the software and everything I need to be able to do literally any kind of music I fancy. But that's not my priority now. This is serving a very specific function. But I can have different packs with different sounds, so I can easily make music from different genres to fit a certain feel of a track, or because I fancy writing some music with that kind of vibe or whatever at the minute, or at the time of making anything. And it's very easy to just dip my toes into making music and then come back out and still focus on what's actually important for my businesses. Right, so I'm just gonna stick my head down now and get something put together, and then I'm gonna show you what it's like at the end so you have an idea of what I've done, and I'll talk you through the whole process of it. What's up, guys? So I got a bit distracted by the Dreamshark live stream. Excuse my crazy hair, I've literally just got out of the shower. And so we come back here. So basically I wrote 2 little tracks before the live stream. So I did that little kind of trappy one, little like trappy drill thing that I was doing before, which is the first one, which you kind of saw me build and put together. And then I've also done this like little drum and bass thing, like very minimal kind of, like very kind of techie kind of drum and bass little track that I've done as well. So each of them are like a minute or so, I think. And oh, it's tripping. The drum and bass one's actually closer to like 2.5 minutes, which is fantastic. That's more than enough. Like 2 minutes, like 1.5 to 2 minutes is generally what I aim to put tracks together. Yeah, so I've done drum and bass and I've done like a trappy drill thing. So now I'm gonna just start fresh, a new track, and I'm gonna try and do like 3 or 4, like two more basically, 1 or 2 more this evening, so that I've got like another 4 tracks that I can put into various videos and stuff, which is great. All the music that you hear in my videos I've put together, I've arranged, I've produced. This isn't something that, like, I don't buy music off anyone else. I do it in this process. I like get sample packs and I like construct tracks myself. Some sample packs do come with like what are they called, like pre-built collections. So they're called like construction kits. And if I put together a construction kit, then sometimes you buy sample packs and they're only construction kits, and in that case I generally try and like slice and dice them to make something more interesting. Sometimes I just use them as is. Now the good thing about sample packs is that you're buying those the license for that as well, so you're able to use anything from those sample tracks mostly. So it does vary sometimes, so always check the info. Like there'll be a document that comes with the sample pack, but generally speaking you can use these things, like any file in there, for your own use, for social media, for your own music that you can license and copyright, for YouTube videos, for commercial purposes, for like just for funsies, literally anything you like. So it's a really good way, although they are quite expensive. Sometimes you'll be paying like 30 quid or something for a collection of like a sample pack, or generally I buy like what are they called, like bundles of sample packs, because you generally get like a nice selection of different things. Yeah, so that's kind of what I usually go for, and with that in mind you can get like a collection, like a bunch of different sample packs all put together by the same label or of the same style and genre, and then it gives you more stuff that you can work with and you kind of mix together and create something really original. Alright guys, I'm gonna crack on. I absolutely love music. Like this is what I studied in college and uni. I've been making tracks and like myself and actually putting stuff together since I was probably like 16. And although I don't really release anything, I've never really released anything commercially, because when I was growing up, basically me and my mate who were at college were going to put a label together. I did all the artwork for it. It was going to be called Keen Records. We had all the artwork, me and my mate Tom Noble. We had a bunch of stuff, we had a bunch of tracks, we had like some other mates who were writing stuff in college and stuff, like old school like drum and bass and dubstep type stuff, before it got too crazy, you know, that bro step shit, like before any of that. Yeah, so that's basically what we were doing, and that's what I wanted to do. But this was before it was that easy to put stuff together. So now you can just release music through like CD Baby and stuff like that. There are a bunch of other online licensing platforms that you can use, and you can just submit tracks for like 30-40 quid, and you can completely copyright license them, put them on Spotify and iTunes. But this used to be a lot more difficult and a lot more expensive, and so I was like going through college and uni right on the cusp, like just before CD Baby and stuff became popular. So I was like a year or 2 behind that switch where the market suddenly became very easily accessible for musicians and artists and bands. So I kind of missed out on that slightly, and because I went through my own personal stuff, I never really got into it and I never kept track of it. And I was writing music quite happily by myself, but I never really put anything together enough to actually release tracks. which is I'm a bit gutted about because I wish I had done it. But at the same time, I'm not too bothered about it. You know, I got very passionate about the fitness. I started building a business like that, and I have all these skills that I can put together so that I can now write my own music in my own time. Like if I decide to just write some music one day, I have everything. I have the tools, I have the knowledge and the kind of skills to write tunes, and I can do it for fun and not pressure myself into writing tracks, and kind of just enjoy it as a hobby rather than pursuing it as a career. Although, if that's something you're interested in, then there are ways you can do it. CD Baby is a great way to do that. Okay, I'm not affiliated with them or anything, but definitely check them out because they're a great way for you, if you're an artist, to get your music out there. Top tips. So guys, I'm going to show you a little breakdown of some tracks that I've already done. I'm just going to hit record on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up just a thing that I've done a bunch of tracks on. So we're going to go here. So I got this couple of reggaeton sample packs because I love a bit of reggaeton. And what I've done, might not be the best example. Here we go. So here, if I just get rid of that, this is a massive project. So if we drag our cursor all the way over here to the end of the track, I know this isn't where the actual music is going, but get rid of that. Why is that winding me up? So we've got like 10 minutes long of different tracks, and each section, look, I'm just going to highlight one section, basically goes like, we're looking at like 30 something. So this is how many bars? This goes to 44 bars. Yeah. So what I've got here is I basically got like the same loop. So you can see this C sharp going twice, you got this coming in, and this is like one section of track here from 9 to 16. So that's like an 8-bar section. And I've got some bits, this is all at 100 BPM. So I've got like different things from different sample packs. Like this is completely different. This JHB is completely different to SRP. You can see how these are labeled. So these are completely different sample packs that have been used, but have been combined together to make something a little more original. And I've got like different bits from different samples. I've like cut these up. If I zoom in a bit, I've got like little bits of fills and little bits of toms. Got random little bits from here of different percussion for like a little fill. So if I just take this out and go, so it like adds a different element, like a certain element of the track. I'm actually just going to play that little bit, and I'm going to listen to it as well so I can see what's going on, and you can hear a bit about what's going on in this track. So I'm going to go to here, so you just get that first little bit of that loop. I'm going to take it back. So it comes in with like some nice little plucky things, which is like typical reggaeton kind of vibe. It's all plucks basically. And then it introduces like some little clicks, so it adds a nice little bit of rhythm. It's got quite a positive kind of feel to it, this track. And then random percussion down here, which is that fill, and then a nice little crash from a completely different sample pack. Just that pulls in this main loop. It's got this bit here is this bass line. This is the plucks. We've got those clicks, and we've got like the main kick and snare kind of stuff going right on the top here, that top loop. And then it comes out. So it's the same loop, it's just progressing. It just adds like an element of progression throughout the track. Then we go for the next section. And you can tell it's building up to something, building up to the thing. Dun, 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 dun. That fill again, nice little interesting fill. And then it comes straight back into the same section, you know what I mean? It's just repeated. But then there's something going on here. See this? Bar 33, so the start of that second section of the track. And then there's something going on with the clicks there as well. Oh, it's because there's a fill going on. Yeah, so it just adds like a little bit to make a bit of a variation through the track, and that adds like another element that you can like think about this not as like a complete track, because this is something that's going to be used for videos. So we're just allowing like a nice little background rhythm that you can follow along with, and it's going to push into something with a little bit of variation. Got something totally different by here, just some like strings to finish it off. But it's the same chord progression, and I think that actually comes from the same sample pack. Yeah, it does. I got to zoom over the the camera there to have a look at that. But you see how like that's basically one loop, that little pluck thing. Like it's just that's all it is. If we go right back to the start, it's just this loop with like an equivalent bass line going in the same chord progression, like following the same notes. And that's it, 4 bars that I've turned into what is essentially, let's see, how long is that? I'm just going to move you. So that's 1 minute 45. So that's a 4-bar loop that I've turned, like a 4-bar little section that I've turned into almost 2 minutes of music, which I can then use for a video. And that's kind of how I structure things. And then if you go to literally the next section, we're just going to copy that and drag it. Then I've got, that was in, what key was that in? Did we see? Did you tell? Did you have a little look? So that's in C sharp. Okay, and then I go to the next section and I've got in B. So what I've done is I've gone through the sample pack, and I've got, or various sample packs, and I've got basically one tempo and one type, like genre. So you can see the file name up here is reggaeton 100, and so all my 100 BPM reggaeton tunes are in this project. So this one is in B, and to me that's a B minor, but I might be wrong, it might be B major. But again, we've just got this, like, it's reggaeton plucks, like the same old thing. But it's like different drums, obviously different drums, but they're arranged in the same way. So I've got like the drums at the top, the kicks and the snares, so they're ooh, overloaded my thing. And it's done in the same way because everything's mixed and mastered in the same way. So all the kicks go on the same channel because they're all going to be roughly the same level all the time. So I can just add them in like a new section of those percussion, and the same with the leads, the same with the bass lines. And then I have these extra tracks where I've done little variations or little fills or little effects on certain things to allow for like a bit more variation as I go through the thing, to give it a bit more progression, you know. Also, look, this one's got an interesting bit, which is a lead, and I basically cut and chopped this. So you see how I've kind of progressed with one key. I've progressed from one kind of loop and chord structure into a different one in the same key, and that's one track. You know, it's come out as one track. It's, sorry, I have to wiggle my head around. And this is going to be, this isn't as long as the other one, this is a bit shorter, it's probably going to be about 1 minute 20 or something. But I've got like a simple loop bit at the start with like plucks, and I've got something with like a more like synthy lead, which is a typical reggaeton thing to have as well, like a synthy lead. Drums are the same, slightly different percussion, same kind of little effects, but a nice bass line and a lead to match, or a lead with a bass line to match, and then like a little delay thing at the end, which is right here. So I've got the leads here, this melody loop, and then I've got here, yeah, I've got a duplicate of it. And if we go on this, you see I've just got like a standard delay, a stereo delay here, which I've just put a little easy delay effect, and that's also, okay, it's not shown there, but that's because the synth has a little bit of reverb on it, so I just left that and had the delay kind of filter out and increase the reverb. That very, very simple stuff, you know, nothing too crazy, but it's interesting enough to have an element of progression. That's a pretty good example of it. And then what's the next one? So I've gone and I've just got all the same tempos, same genre, but then different keys. So this one's in E. And what I generally do when I go through tracks, sample packs, is I'll have like whatever the selection of one tempo is, and I'll go through and I'll find melody loops and bass loops that kind of match up or have similar chord progressions, and then I'll put them in, so I'll stack them together. And that process is a way of figuring out stuff that I like, because I'm only going to write music that I kind of like. And it's also a way for me to kind of get everything in, all the ideas in, and kind of get them together and sync up the different instruments so that I can see what I can use as I write any one section. And I can just click and drag, move on to the next section, like move on to the next piece. This one's got a bit of interest. Oh, that one changes completely, look. So that's got quite an interesting progression, similar to the previous one. And what happens with this is it's kind of got a thing, progresses out of this. I'm just going to whack it back here. This is like a simple, like progressive kind of thing, and then it kind of filters out, something going on. It keeps the kick in there to have the rhythm element, and then this is quite a sharp change, but it like filters out one side and filters in the other. So it's almost like the tracks are being mixed together like they would in a club or something. They're the same key. That's important. It's the same key. If it's a different key, it would sound really weird. This I can just about get away with. And then I've got similar effects. I've got the same noise effects on it. I've got the same snare crash. so it kind of ties it together still as well, so it still sounds like it's the same thing. What I might have is different instruments. Oh no, it's the same kind of top loop as well through them all. And then what's this? A different percussion. Yeah, some different percussion-y things going on by here that you can see. And they're different bass lines, you can see just by the shape of them they're different, but that's at the same key, so that I can put into one track, and having like a big change in a track like that has really nice variation that you can put into like a single track. I've got some that are like things at like 150 BPM and 75, so I could combine them because they're essentially like the same tempo or half time. 150 is double 75, so like 75 is half time or 150 is double time, depending on which way you look at it. But you could have completely different genres that are played in completely different tempos, but they technically match up, so then you could use the same instruments and loops together to create much more interesting pieces. What have we got over here? This is something I didn't turn into anything, and you can see like these ones didn't really match up very well, like they didn't really work together too well, so I didn't bother with that, and I think I just skipped to the next one. And what key is this? So this is in D. So all of these are in different keys, and if I've got stuff in the same key, I'll see if I can kind of put them together to make them more interesting. Hopefully I can. And if not, then I'll just have them as separate tracks. It doesn't matter, it just has more variation. Like these specific ones are ones that I've done for very long workouts that I've done, workout videos that I've done with Danny for our joint channel, Danny and Rhys. You can check that out. Oh, system overload again. So this doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it does when I'm spinning Logic out, because I've got a very old Mac that I write these tracks on. But this little interesting thing, so I try and have a bit of fun with these, and I like the weird little glitchy kind of things that I do. But like I like weird like little glitchy bits in tracks where you don't know what to expect, you don't really know what's coming next. I love that. I love when that happens. It makes music a lot more fun. This is like a Failer style thing, like this little whoop, whoop. I love it. I'm glad that's a nice little fill. I'm glad that I made this into like a reggaeton track, because it's totally different to the kind of stuff you'd hear in reggaeton. So it adds a nice variation to tracks when putting them together. That gives you an idea of how I structure stuff and how I mix stuff. And look, over here we've got other things that I haven't done yet. So that this is an example. I've got like a G melody with a bass loop. That's come out of a sample pack, and it's a total mess. Like that just wouldn't work, you see. So they're not all winners when you get sample packs. When you do these, like I said, not everything is a winner. Some stuff is just a bit of a mess, but hopefully from this example, I'm just going to stop that recording. Hopefully from this example of like tracks I've put together already that are in some of my videos, you can see how like the process that I go around structuring the music and how I try to create like some kind of progression as we go through the tracks. It's easier said than done, and it does take time. Like just those like 4 or 5 things that you just listened to there, that's taken like a good 4 or 5 hours, and it also isn't like a set time. It's not like 1 hour a track. Some stuff just takes longer. Some stuff like the music kind of makes itself, and some stuff you have to work a bit harder to like build the progression in and add the variation, and you like add filters and kind of mess around with little effects and find little percussion things to make little loops and stuff. But when you have something that you've built by yourself, like no one can take that, no one can use that, and you can't get copyright strikes for it as well, and at least you can contest them because you own the license for that music. I'm just going to save this because otherwise I won't. But yeah, so I hope that gives you an idea of how I make multiple tracks out of a sample pack and how I structure them in Logic when I'm actually arranging these things as well, because having a good workflow to allow yourself to make the most out of these things is really important. And it's very easy to just come in with one track and kind of scratch your head, like, trying to figure out 1 or 2 little things, whereas you can go through like a whole sample pack, or you can just search a certain tempo and you can just dump everything into Logic straight away, especially when you've got a bunch of sample packs to work with, a bunch of different sounds and vibes and like different instruments and kind of layers. And it gives you stuff that you've got all the tools preloaded into that project in different keys, so then you know what you can arrange and what you can do, and it just saves a lot of kind of hassle and aggro and not producing. Like it's very easy to get distracted just looking through sample packs and not putting anything down into the arrange window in your DAW. So I hope that really helps with you. That's a little sneaky tip, and I know this video is quite a long one, but One thing a lot of people really ask all the time, people ask about music for YouTube, and this is a way, if you have a little bit of technical know-how, that you can do things. And this is how I do stuff as well, just for a bit of fun. Like I'm doing it now, you know what I mean, just for a bit of fun, writing tunes. Like I want music for my videos, so I want it to be good and I want it to be something I like, so I might as well use the skills that I have to be able to do that. This is not a business for me. Alright guys, this is not something that I use to make money, it's something that I invest in for my businesses. Okay, and it's worth, if you have a little bit of technical know-how, doing yourself, especially if you enjoy the music thing. Like a lot of people I know did music when they were young and then didn't pursue it, but if they get their hands on a couple of these sample packs, they'll be pulling out tunes that you never heard of before, because people generally have a lot of talent. You guys probably have a lot of talent, and once you get the hang of doing these things, you can create something amazing. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I've got to carry on, because I'm just recording videos instead of actually producing the tune. I've got to get this done. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Alright guys, keep in touch with yourselves.